We are now.
All right.
Hey, always there's something.
Yeah.
It's not like we do this professionally, you know. It's fine.
That should be the intro, to every episode. Are we on the air?
Yeah. I mean, it has been so far.
What does the red light mean? We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the Rapunzel ad on the bottom right corner of the screen.
Welcome
Fucking
to
ads.
Trigger on the Stack.
Trigger on the stack. Starting out super successfully, as always. You know, that's what we do. It's fine. So we're here to talk about today, I think, double masters and maybe reprints in general, and how much we don't like them, mostly.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk shit about double masters for the next hour or so.
To be clear, love reprints. Hate the fact that they've become a money grab. Understand the fact that they've become a money grab.
Yeah, I mean, Wizards can just freely print money whenever they want to, and nobody ever stops the formula from working. So, yeah, I mean, you can't blame them, I guess. No. I mean, we can blame them, actually.
We can
totally
and do.
Can, and we can shit on them as much as we want, but they're not going to stop.
As a company, they are justified in doing
that. Yeah, no, they can print as much money as they want.
Can we agree that of all the ones they do, this is the worst one? The double masters. What is it double of?
Double rares. It's literally just a money grab.
Rares.
I mean, it's just a money grab. That's all it is.
I was looking through the list, and it doesn't look like honestly, I hate saying this because John, you're the store owner here, and this is part of your livelihood.
You know my opinion of this shit.
Don't waste your money on this crap, people. Just don't. Well, just buy the cards. Just buy the fucking cards.
Dude, you can't stop a fool.
I know. That's the thing. You could tell them. You could be at the counter and be like, "Don't buy this." I really need a Liliana the Last Hope. Well, they're over there in the fucking
right.
cabinet for less than what this pack costs.
Like if you wanna buy the sealed product, buy the sealed product. If you want cards from the set, buy the cards from the set.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
if you have,
I think you should just always buy the cards.
Oh, you should. If you want cards, you should just buy the cards.
I do. I think we should point to one of the good things about these kind of reprint sets, which is something that's dead now. But like drafting and playing them as a limited thing, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then you have to determine if having a fun limited experience is worth a fuckload of money, and it's still probably cheaper to just build a cube. That is the limited experience of the set, actually.
Well, if we go all the way back to, I think, Modern Masters, whatever the first one was, I remember it being hard to find a draft to fire. I was always there like, I've got $60, I'll do a draft, but it was hard to get that to fire. Now
never.
Now what it is.
I just want to point out, is the person who's played the most limited here, I find these master sets to just be atrocious.
Oh, yeah, they're not made for it. They're made for drafting.
I think
they try to make them kind of like they try to force it.
People associate them with fun drafts just because they generally only do it once,
right?
And to me, a good limited format is about how redraftable is it. And these it's just like a bunch of like power cards that generally don't go together,
right? With a lot of forced synergy that sometimes works. So one thing that's actually it's good to shit on for this, which is a super weird card for fixing because they forced the draft environment to be all like tricolor pairings. They printed a super goofy land that actually says, and it's actually really stupid the way it's worded, I think. It's a land that has 5 numbers on it for the colors. It says circle a number.
Oh, Jesus.
And it makes those 2 colors of the 2 numbers you circle. I don't know why it doesn't just say choose 2 numbers.
Bring your Sharpie to this draft.
Cryptic expires.
The fact that it actually says circle the numbers, like why? That's not even necessary in any precedent set by the game.
Here's what it reads. It's cryptic expires. It's a common, I think.
I think it's in every pack actually.
Yeah, so it's hard to. As you create your deck, circle 2 of the colors below. Cryptic expires enters tapped. Add 1 mana of either of the circled colors.
Oh, okay. So
you have to
decide this before you put it in your deck.
All right, fair. I didn't think about that angle. Fair enough. It's still fucking goofy though.
I think. Oh my god, it's just. I didn't even know. Obviously, I haven't even looked at these spoilers. That's atrocious. That's just.
You got to make it draftable somehow, kind of. But
I think to me the thing is, if this was in a set like a tricolor set that they didn't want to put a bunch of tricolor lands in, but they wanted to be draftable. Put a couple of these in there.
Right.
How much do these packs cost? How much is this card worth?
Right.
Like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Is this seriously in every pack?
I think so. Yeah, I was watching somebody do an opening the other day, and I'm pretty sure it was. So yeah, that is a thing.
Are
That's
there
what
any
it is.
divinations in this set? Because
I haven't looked at the set as a whole yet. So
there is.
I
There's
don't really
Mold Drifter.
I don't want to
it's an
shit on the
uncommon.
set as far as the limited capacity because I haven't really looked at it.
Oh, I do.
I mean, I know you do, but I mean, we haven't looked. So
Yeah. Mold Drifter is a sweet card,
Yeah, let me see
especially
the-
for
let me see the
for like
matchup
cube
right there.
or limited. But like at uncommon, come on.
do this. That way we can still see the thing.
Yeah, I remember doing one of these Masters draft. It was like the second Modern Masters draft, doing like the midnight release in Fort Wayne, and
Right.
and like pack one, pick one. I'm staring at a Tarmogoyf, and at the time this was like
Oh
a
yeah.
$200 card.
Yeah,
and
he
it's
was
just
still
like, well,
not
I guess I'm
beaten to
drafting
death yet.
Tarmogoyf, and
Yep.
it's like I can't even put it in my deck.
Yeah, I guess I'm drafting this 2/3.
that goes in my sideboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty dreadful.
Now they are. I mean, it is just so for Wizards, it's printing money, and how they would justify it to the community is that it's putting cards back in. I'd have to assume this is how they would justify it. That it's putting cards back in circulation for new players to be able to get a hold of easier. You know, that's got to be. It's got to be the justification. Which, in that, sense, is I do think that's important to a degree.
But that was a reason.
This is what I want to be doing in the format right here.
Oh, yeah.
Aether Snipe and Momentary Blink.
Yeah,
I just want to do that.
for sure.
That was a reason 4 of these sets ago.
Yeah,
Now,
no, I agree.
God's Willing has been reprinted.
Yeah,
5
no,
times.
I definitely agree that logic fails when they just keep banging them out.
Mhm.
Like it was just a few years ago for the first one. So,
Yeah.
like, this should happen every 5+ years. You
Yeah.
know, not just like, hey, it literally is just, hey, we want to make some money. Sure, guys, let's make some money. Boom, master set. And again, everybody buys it. Every time I've ever heard a collector like, oh man, my card just lost value, they turn around and buy a fuckload of this product, and they never hesitate, ever.
This one's interesting. I've skimmed it before, but are there no new cards in this set? Is
No,
it
because this
purely
is just
reprint?
well,
Okay,
Masters
purely
there
reprint.
never are.
Okay.
Horizons are the only ones with new
That's
cards.
right.
Yeah. If they want to do something constructive, and I might have brought this up before, but like what would be really cool is a Pioneer Horizons. Like, let's get some fucking lifeblood in that format because we've been doing it every other week or once a month or whatever on Fridays.
Right.
We've been streaming at
It
10 o'clock,
needs-
and
it needs a little bit.
the format feels atrocious. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know a lot of people have come out and enjoyed playing it and everything, but watching it, it's like watching flies fuck, man.
It's really
bad.
not
It's
super
really
engaging.
bad.
What are we looking at for Pioneer? Just out of curiosity, because I haven't been able to
Like,
tune in or.
so basically, there's no cheap interaction, right?
Oh.
So, like, there's no cheap removal, there's no cheap counter spells, and so every time you're watching 2 decks, one deck is just going to do its thing and stomp the other deck.
So far, from what we've seen.
That's what I mean. We have
From what we've seen.
we have a large enough sample size.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
kind of seems like every single match, there's one deck that's superior and does a more powerful thing, and it just rolls the other deck. And there's no back and forth. It's the least like interactive format that there probably is in Magic right now.
It seems that way for sure.
I think that Vintage might have more interaction.
It would definitely make more sense for them to be, since they are. It's going to be Pro Tour format. They're pushing it a lot more. Like,
Yeah, they need
I
to
feel
fix
like
it.
a Horizons thing is the best way to do that, and they could have spent the time doing that instead of doing this Double Masters. But
Is Pioneer not the set or not the format that was pre-COVID that they tried to push really hard?
They did.
Like they did
They did, but
constant
they-
bannings. It was like it was
Yeah.
a big deal for a little while.
The thing is, they keep banning combo pieces out of combo decks, and other combo decks are just rising to the top.
Mhm.
Like it's John and I have had this conversation like off air, but like really, this is where people that like to bitch about control. What control does is allow you to play aggro
Yeah.
and allow you to play mid range.
right,
Because if combo decks are just allowed to do whatever they want, and there's no like counter spells to keep them in check, this is what you end up with. A format that's just every deck is some, like even the mono green deck, it's, I mean, like if you just watched it play out, you would say it's kind of a mid-range, but it's not really a mid-range deck. It is kind of a combo deck, you know?
To a degree, yeah. It's a weird
it's a green
amalgamation.
devotion.
Yeah.
Like the land.
Nykthos.
Nykthos is just a house. You'll see turns where they'll tap Nykthos, make 1,000,000 mana, play 5 things, play another Nykthos, and play 5 more things. It's just stupid.
So, this is the like Nissa deck that was around.
I think it does
still have Nissa.
I think it does play him in Nissa.
Yeah, double green.
Yeah, but the blue-eye control deck's not very good, right? Like the reason nobody plays it is because first off, it's boring, and like it doesn't have good interaction. And that's the real problem. Is the interaction.
I definitely agree that there is a huge gap there.
It's like they have Fatal Push, which really should be the premier.
Right, but it's not.
But there are no fetch lands.
Yeah.
So, like, Fatal Push sucks.
Yeah. And it's a vacuum, because every single set, the creatures get more and more powerful. And so the problem with Pioneer, in essence, is the removal, because they are apparently scared of printing good removal at a good pace in a normal set. It just doesn't do anything because the creatures are too fucking nuts. And they're not slowing down on creature design. They just keep making creatures better every single set. So that's going to be its problem.
I think what it really needs is like a Pioneer Masters, and it needs an infusion of some 2-mana cards. And a couple I'm thinking of, I think Remand would be a really nice card for the format. It'd be like, because there is no 2-mana counterspell in the format at all. And so Remand, I think, would be a nice one.
Well, there's Drown in the Lock. That's the only one.
Yeah, but Drown in the Lock is
it's not as good in this format as others.
No fetch lands.
Yeah.
It's worse in this format than any other format because you actually have to work to build your opponent's graveyard. Right. And then another one I was thinking about the other day, I think Terminate.
Yeah.
Just Terminate. I think that'd be a nice ad, you know, just a catch-all 2-mana thing. I mean, granted, you have to play black-red, but
right.
I mean,
well, it'd be nice
just having shit like that.
Yeah.
2 mana, deal with a thing.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Is like Doomblade would even be like.
Doomblade is legal.
Oh, is it legal?
Doomblade is
That's
legal.
Something.
But it has the same drawback it's always had.
Yeah.
Which is it doesn't kill black things, and black things kill you.
Yeah.
Is the artifact Doomblade legal? I forget the name of it. It's Doomblade, except
Go for the Throat.
Go for the Throat.
Not.
No.
And also, one of the best decks is that you remember that old standard deck where they put that 2-mana aura on a indestructible artifact.
Artifact.
Yeah, Insult Artifact.
Yeah.
Yeah, like running with scissors or whatever. Right. And like, if you're putting Go for the Throat in your deck and you have to play that, that's gonna feel
Matt
bad.
says that Rakdos Midrange is the top deck in the format, so they won't print Terminate.
Sure.
But
they should. I mean, I'm sorry, they should.
I do think that I agree that it would be healthy if they want to make the format a thing to go ahead and do a Horizons for it if they're going to push it, and then do the same thing they've done already, with Modern. And then you can take some Modern cards and put it in a Pioneer, and then you can print some new cards just for. Well, I guess that would get a little weird because then you're
every
making
time
new
they
cards
do that.
Actually,
for Modern.
here's
one.
Technically,
they won't do this, but here's one I actually really like. How about Dismember? Because Dismember is cheap interaction that you can put in any deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at a fair cost too. Very fair cost. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. Well, I mean, we are getting the Brothers War soon, so.
So we got that going for us.
Yeah, we might. You might see Phyrexian Mana again in that.
Oh, that's.
Well, you know, it's scary to even talk about.
I think they know they fucked up.
They did, but so they visited it again in Kamigawa. They've been a Planeswalker, the Phyrexian symbol, and it wasn't any kind of broken, and they were going for the right things. I think it's like, if you paid Phyrexian Mana, there's this condition. If you didn't, it's this condition.
Oh, so Phyrexian Mana is coming back? Is that what we're talking about?
Maybe. I'm just saying it was. I'm just saying it's a potential reprint, like in Brothers War, because they've already touched on Phyrexian Mana a little bit. Phyrexians are the main storyline right now, or in the main storyline right now. So I could see a return to it, and I think that it's scary because it's a terrible mechanic, but I think that they know enough from the first go that they would downgrade it super hard if they did. And i.e. the Tamio from Kamigawa.
Yeah.
But does that? But do they downgrade it to the point where it's just not interesting anymore?
That's usually what they do. So I would hope they would find the balance a little bit better. Because it's like Rebound, and see that's a great example exactly how stupid a mechanic can get. So like Rebound was really cool the first go, and they reprinted it, but they nerfed it so hard in cons, and then in MH1 they said here's Ephemerate, and like well,
Whoops.
yeah, that was probably too good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they nerfed it. What made it even worse is that like cons as a format was just, it wasn't about
Spells.
little incremental value. It was
No.
about like multicolored,
big
siege
splashy
rhinos and
stuff.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Pioneer. In closing about the Pioneer thing, Pioneer. I guess not in closing necessarily because we're going to keep talking about it. So what does anybody listening think? We want to keep talking about Pioneer, or do we want to go back to bitching about reprints?
Yeah. What would you like us to bitch about? Let us know.
Yeah,
All we promise is complaints.
we are. Yeah, we are happy to bitch about things. We do it very well. Let us know.
Yeah. Dashner is pushing for Legacy. And you can provide like 6 Legacy decks. Try at 10.
I mean, I suppose I'd be down for that.
I would-
I can't speak on anybody else if anybody else
I
would
would
be down for it.
so love to play Legacy, and I'm just never going to put that kind of money.
Right.
That's the rub.
Yeah, and so like people might not even want to be tempted to play it because they might really enjoy it, and then like fuck, I still can't afford it.
That sounds terrible,
Exactly.
Matt. Legacy Gates. Ugh.
It won't come to that, Matt.
Yeah.
It won't come to that.
Legacy's actually become my favorite format to watch.
Oh, it's
Just
super interesting.
Looking at old coverage, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
no,
it's-
Legacy is super interesting to watch, and a lot of people think it's something other than it is. Like when you actually see Legacy in action, it is super interesting magic. It really is. It's just impossible to get into.
Yeah.
But it's fucking cool, and it's not what you expect at all. But yeah, no, and I've thought about Popper too, and that's one big thing about this Master set actually is what Popper gets, because Popper I think is getting a pretty big shakeup from this set. There's a lot of stuff that got bumped down to common, like Monastery Swift Spear got bumped down to common. That's pretty big. I would have to think.
Has that not been a common
No,
before?
it's uncommon. It's always been uncommon.
Huh.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got this set made a lot of things common. Let's see if we can find some good ones that might affect Popper.
Gasali Pride Mage.
That would always been a common.
Has it?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I don't
Yep.
know if
No, it
that's
was printed originally as a common. Yeah.
Huh.
Bloodwater Entity got downgraded to a common. That's a good one. Cartel Aristocrat downgraded to a common. That's a good one. 10th District Legionnaire. That's a pretty good common.
I don't think the Bloodwater Entity is particularly playable in Pauper the last time I saw it.
I
seems-
don't. I'm just saying that it's a good common. I don't know anything about the format myself.
Oh,
just saying
it's like Legacy, basically.
Well, I know. I'm just saying that it's like Legacy, but it's still not Legacy. So a thing like that, I don't know. I would think might be okay. But yeah, the point is though, there's definitely some things. See if there's any other good ones that settled in.
You can unearth some bad cards.
You can. You could totally do that. That thing seems okay. Experiment 1 at common. That seems like a good
That
one
thing.
for
That's
Popper.
really descriptive for the podcast
Yeah, no,
format.
Dark Dweller is what Dark Dweller Oracle is what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
It's not a great card, but it's now a common instead of a rare, so it's a cool sacrifice outlet. Experiment 1 got downgraded to a common. That seems like that would be okay.
When you said Dark Dweller, I can't really see the screen. I thought you were talking about Goblin Dark Dweller got
Oh yeah,
downgraded.
that'd be an awesome
that would
combo.
be sweet.
Got downgraded to common.
Yeah. I mean, the thing doesn't get
Yeah.
played, so actually
I
it
don't
would
think
make
that'd
a
be
degree of
playable
sense.
in a format where Counterspell and Daze are both
No.
legal.
Okay, so here's something that I would think might be a good one. Militia Bugler at common. Like, I feel like that could do something in Pauper. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe it goes and finds that thing that makes you the monarch.
I still think that's banned. I don't think
Is
that's
it?
legal.
I don't know. Any Pauper fans out there?
yeah.
Can they
I
tell us? Is that
believe
thing
it's
banned?
banned.
Palace, or what is it?
Palace Jailer? Is
Palace
Palace Jailer banned in Pauper?
It's banned in Vintage. Legacy.
Well, it's not banned in Vintage, because they only
Banned in
banned
Legacy,
one
I mean,
thing,
I
yeah.
think. I'm pretty
It
sure
might
it's
be banned in Legacy.
What did they ban? What is the thing that they banned in Vintage? It's
Luris.
Luris. Yeah, that makes
'cause
sense.
Obviously, the mechanic.
Yeah.
Lava Coil might do something at common in Pauper.
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, man.
Might be a sideboard card or something.
I mean, it would definitely be a sideboard card. But yeah, I think that's probably. I guess that's probably the best. Yeah.
Pauper is for me just another one of those formats that everyone can tell you a little bit about, and then you ask who has a deck for it,
and nobody,
and all the hands go down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I'm not going to play it.
Yeah,
that sounds atrocious.
I mean, it's kind of neat, almost.
Like that's.
You're over here cracking Evolving Wilds and shit. Come on,
Yeah.
That's like every. I just feel like that's every format except Commander, Modern, and Standard. Sometimes. That format sounds great. Really interesting. I'm not gonna build a deck for it.
Standard seems to be super regional now. Like I know that our town doesn't give a shit about Standard. At least my store doesn't give a shit about Standard. I don't know about Chimps. Maybe we don't.
Nobody does, and that's Wizards' fault because they killed Game Day.
Yeah,
this is true. But they said that I just saw Mark Rosewater said that they've had their most successful 3 years ever in the history of the game since switching to single format.
Imagine how successful they'd be if they had game days.
I know, right? I was so sad when I saw that post because that means that they're going to just keep doing what they've been doing lately.
Yeah.
And if he's talking success, he's talking monetarily.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not anything else.
They basically just made Standard a digital format.
That's just it.
Which is fine.
I guess, but why do I want to buy your new product then?
Well, I don't. Like, we talked about buying product.
Right. I mean, people...
That's the whole point of this argument, is don't buy this stuff.
People buy product because people love buying product.
They love opening product.
No, honestly, they do. I mean, think of all the internet. How many people just watch box openings and shit of... Watch anything being open, for Christ's sake. I mean, any stupid thing in the world is slightly collectible.
It's like scratching off lottery tickets or doing pull tabs at the local Legion.
It is pull tabs. It is very much pull tabs. Trading card games are pull tabs.
Dustin, 5 or 6 years ago, Theros, Cons, etc., I would buy a box of every set just because I like the game.
Yeah, I would do the same.
At this stage, it's like, I don't think I'm going to buy that.
I did the math one time. I opened up my box and it was like, there's like
$40.
Yeah, like $40 in here, and like it's not even like what I really wanted was a playset of this card, and I got 0 of that card.
Right.
For the $100, I could have just bought the playset.
No, I think
it was like light bulb. Like that's what I'm going to do from now on. I'm just like, and at the time I could have bought foils.
Yeah, the first time I ever bought a box, I opened it, and I remember that it was there were 2 Battlecry guys in red and white, and I was like, I want 4 of each of those.
Right.
And I got 3 of one and 2 of the other, and I was looking around like a kid opening his eyes for the first time. I'm like, wait a minute, but I bought a box.
Right? Yeah.
I don't understand where the rest.
I should get everything.
That was over $100.
For me, I think that it's important with anything that's a randomized collectible to not focus so much on the monetary value, and I think that's a problem overall with these kinds of games. And I see it all the time, and it kind of irks me because I come from being a broke-ass casual player when I was young, so opening anything was cool, and I love the game enough that I want to open a pack that has shit that I could play, as opposed to having actual monetary value, So and it annoys me a lot to hear people open packs like, oh, this was a fucking dub. It's like, well, there's really cool cards in there at least. I mean, it's something, And I think that just as much as Wizards just printing money arbitrarily
buy a lottery
embodies the wrong idea for them, for the community, I think opening packs for monetary value enables that other bad idea. And then it just turns into a fucking circle jerk of shit because it's the customer's like, oh, I need to open value. And then when there's Wizards just said, all right, well, fucking, I guess we'll print product that has value. So here you go. And it just keeps the thing going. And it's like it's taking away from the core concept of the game.
It gets me the number of people that I talk to who do view a pack like a lottery ticket. Like,
yeah, no, it is.
Well, I have $20. I'll get a pack, see if I get something.
Right. And so the thing that as a store owner I see a lot that pains me, and because I'm a store owner, I let it go for a minute. But if somebody goes too hard, I do try to say something. Like, hey, hold on, buddy. But when you get guys that are like, give me a pack. Oh, got this $20 card. How many packs can I get? Trade for packs. Oh, how many packs can I get from this? Fucking this many. Okay, give them to me. It's like they open all the best cards, and they trade them back to us.
And they have a pile of steaming shit in their
and
hands.
then at half value.
Keep going.
And it's like, we let it go for a minute, but at a certain point, we're like, fuck, man, just slow down. Like, you just opened the best card. Are you sure you want to trade this? Because you're not getting anything
This
better.
is the card you're looking to get with those other packs.
There is nothing better here, you know?
At that point, you're basically a casino, you know?
No, it is. And that is my problem.
There's an old Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns opens up a casino and his first night, he's just like, this is the greatest business I will ever own. People just walk in and empty their pockets and leave.
Yeah, for sure. And that is definitely an issue with the game as a whole, but definitely is illustrated well with sets that are with reprints, is because it's just, these are really, like, 'cause everybody has these cards.
Mm.
A lot of the people that are buying into these cards, into these reprints, probably sold a lot of these cards because they're like, oh, I'm going to buy a bunch of this fucking set so I can get this new art. Like, you already have the fucking cards.
Yeah.
You already have the cards.
Let's not get us started on the new arts. I could do with that. Like, we do coverage. It's a pain in the ass.
We
These
bitch
fucking new
all the
arts
time.
are killer.
No, it is. And now that there's literally, with every double masters, there's going to be like, eventually there's going to be like 8 arts for every card. And it's so annoying.
I have changed the art on some of the cards in my deck. I haven't changed the cards in my deck.
Right.
But over time, like, I got the Japanese arts, and every time I saw more obscure art for Counterspell, I got it, and I was just like, they're not gonna know what this is.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I just
no.
slide it in, like, they're not gonna
And it's
clue what I'm
like,
holding.
As an...
And that was my
Are you going for versatility?
that was my favorite. I used to rewatch that coverage just for that opening hand, and I think it was you, Dustin, and goes, well, I got the... What the fuck that is? It's got some Japanese bullshit. I was like, yeah, I do.
No,
Well,
it's
speaking of reprints, I'm staring at this Thought Scour reprint that they have on here with new art, and it just got me thinking. That's another card I think that would really help Pioneer out. I think Thought Scour would be an awesome, because you brought up the blue-black counterspell.
Yeah, no, it definitely needs a little bit of love for sure.
The Drown in the Lock Thought Scour would be a nice little cantrip, because that's the other thing. There are no good cantrips, right? Like, you have Opt, but like Opt isn't really a good card to play in Pioneer because there's no Snapcaster. So Opt is literally just.
I mean, you have
fucking cycling.
Consider technically, but
I think the best cantrip is Shark Typhoon, which, by the way, I had an awesome epiphany one day that if you're playing Pioneer, I was playing a blue-black control deck the last time I played some kind of Pioneer, and if you cycle Shark Typhoon for 0, that enables Revolt for Fatal Push because it makes a 0/0 shark that dies.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Hey, that's fucking something for sure.
That's still like, I mean, at that point, I could have played Doomblade or Murder or whatever. That's a 3-mana kill spell. That's not cheap interaction.
No.
But
sure.
I mean, it is the thing that you can do.
It is a thing. No, they definitely. There's so one thing that I actually think, I just had the thought that would help Pauper is actually a card that is only printed in MH1, and that's Prismatic Vista. Like, you don't want to give the format fetch lands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You gave him Fabled Passes, which is just bad. Nobody plays that shit. Like, just reprint Prismatic Vista. Like, give him that at least. You know, like, it's not great, but it's
just unban Windswept Heath.
Just one fetch land. That's what you
just print dual lands that have a tag on them that say this card cannot be played in a deck that has uncommons, rares, or mythics in it. Boom. There you go. Duels and Pauper.
Shit.
I just want to see them reprint dual lands. I want them.
No, they probably ought to. Because, I mean, they could just stick, like, desert or snow on them. And it'd be, you know.
But also, isn't Pauper, like, already one of the most powerful formats in a lot of ways?
Yeah, Pauper is, like, basically just Legacy Light.
Like, so do they need super powerful lands as well?
No. Now, we got tangented on Pioneer again for a moment. So that's why I said Prismatic Vista.
I mean, it come into play tap dual land that makes your opponent, like, mill a card or something would be pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Does that not exist?
No. There's surprisingly a lot of space still for the shitty common coming to play tap land.
Oh, yeah. There
There's
is.
a bunch. There's still a lot of stuff you can do. A lot of stuff. All right, so where are we leaning? We kind of keep going back and forth. Pauper.
We had a vote for Pauper in chat, it looks like.
Okay. Got a vote for... We got one vote.
All right. Well, I don't have a lot to say about Pauper. I mean...
Yeah, I know. It is kind of just like... not
I
good
don't
for us
play
to
it.
talk
So
about.
what is there to say about it?
I don't think we're equipped to talk too much about Pauper.
I mean,
I enjoy the idea. I really like the idea.
I mean, you get to play with the best cards. I will say that.
Yeah, no, for sure. You get to play with a lot of really, really fucking good cards. And I have to think that while it is like legacy powered to a degree, it's still like the threats are manageable threats. So you get to play with some of the best interaction, but with super fair threats. And I like that idea.
No, it is. It is. It for the most part, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And
that sounds good to me.
You get some of the best. I mean, you get the best commons ever printed. I mean, Brainstorm is probably the best common ever printed, and you get to play with it. You know,
I really like the idea. I always have liked the idea because it's not. You don't have to deal with fucking, Elder Gargadons and just the insane creatures they print now. Like you get to just nix all of those, and they're not in the equation, and you play with fair dudes with good interaction, and that sounds like what Magic should be to a degree.
Sure.
I don't know. It sounds more to my speed. Like I like. Yeah,
there are some delve things. Those are the bigger things.
Yeah, but again, the delve things that are legal are just big dudes.
I will say
That's
though,
all they are just big dudes.
Big dudes are bad, right? Like throughout Magic's history, like big dudes are just bad.
Gurmag Angler. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's legal.
Tassiger. I mean, he's not legal in Pauper, but
yeah.
he was. No, I mean, he was played because often just a big dude.
Like it's fine. Like. Like you look at like a format like Legacy, like they're not like for the most. I mean, there are decks that do, but for the most part, it's not about big dudes.
Well, no. So that's
about efficiency.
The thing is, and that's why I think Pauper is interesting. Is big
too.
Dudes don't matter in competitive formats, including rares. With normal card design, big dudes don't matter, and they never will matter. Like it could be the smallest guy, and that's what matters. And that's why Pauper, conceptually, to me, is kind of refreshing, because it's the format where a big dude might actually matter. But it's still you can interact with it very easily still, but it actually means something that it's a 5/5. Where in the other formats, it doesn't mean shit. That it could be a 10/10. That doesn't mean anything. He's going to fucking die.
I just had a thought. I haven't played Pauper in a really long time, and I don't know the Horizon sets very well. But wouldn't Dragon Rage Channeler, Mistra's Bauble, and the Delirium Burn Spell all be legal in this format?
No.
No?
DRC's an uncommon.
It's an uncommon?
Yeah, Darcy's an uncommon.
Yeah.
That would be fucking retarded if that thing was common.
I know.
No. They have at least that much sense. Yeah. Thankfully. They have at least that much.
I will say, I play a lot of Vintage Cube, like a shit ton, when it's out. And something I learned that was actually quite surprising, and I had to learn it the hard way. Dragon Rage Channeler, atrocious in Vintage Cube. It might be the worst card in the entire thing. Like, it is fucking bad. Like, I played it twice, and it was really bad. And it got to the point where my opponent, when they did the turn 1 Mountain Dragon Rage Channeler, I'd be like, free win. Like I knew. Like,
they don't know what's
it'll
up.
never be anything other than a 1/1 that's bad.
Right. Yeah. Now they I don't know. I do like the nature of Pauper. And I'm fine with hyper speed interactive cards. That's good. You want and that's like we said with Pioneer.
Days is a fun card, man. Days is a fun card to play with.
And that's like a pretty real cost too, honestly.
Oh yeah,
like, 100%. Unless you're playing blue green and have extra landfall, which is not happening in fucking Pauper.
Yeah.
That's a really fucking fair cost. Like, no, I am all down for really, really good interaction.
Well, reprint Days and give it the force negation caveat. You can only do the free thing on your opponent's turn.
Right.
Fine. It's still a great card to see play.
Yeah.
It's stuck in my mind now just because we were talking about big dudes and like getting them out early. The Allosaurus Rider deck in Modern. What happened with that?
It floats around, I think.
Like it was kicking every ass in sight for a couple weeks,
and
then just
the Allosaurus Rider combo deck.
Yeah.
So the thing, first off, it's really easy.
It's volatile.
It loses to Counterspell. Mm-hmm. It can beat Counterspell, but like I've seen some pretty atrocious. I've seen the guy like across me having a pretty atrocious time with me having Counterspell in my deck.
Right,
it's looked pretty bad. That's one of the problems. The other thing is that's just one of those decks that was never played in paper. Like I don't think I've ever seen that deck.
No, I never have. Yeah,
it's a lot like the modern Char Belcher deck. Literally never seen it
Yeah.
in paper ever.
You will never see that in paper.
Yeah, and
Never.
I will say, if you've ever seen the deck or the Char Belcher deck in modern, it would be pretty it'd be pretty weird to play. Because there's a card you play that literally
Yeah.
lets you stack your deck however you want,
Yeah, no, it would be just.
and that would be atrocious to have
Yeah.
to play against.
I don't want to
Oh,
see that
like-
shit on stream because that would be fucking
Oh,
terrible.
yeah,
I don't even
it's-
want to. I don't even want to think about what that would be. That'd be awful.
Yeah, but like all these things, for they had the Oops All Spells deck
Right.
forever, where you basically go through your entire deck, put it into your graveyard, bring back a bunch of creatures, and kill people with
Right.
what's the fucking green thing that when 3 creatures enter or whatever? Come on, help me out here.
When,
The big green thing that comes back from your graveyard whenever the third creature.
Vengevine.
Vengevine, yeah.
Yeah.
Vengevine. It won with Vengevine. Well, people started realizing that it was really weak to one thing, which was Archmage's Charm targeting your opponent, making them draw 2 cards after they milled their entire deck.
Yeah.
It got to a point people just realized this just kills them.
Yeah. And a card that's played in a lot of the decks in the format. Yeah. It's not,
It became a strategy whenever you play against that deck. Archmage's Charm, get to 3 blue mana, I win.
yeah, and that's why.
They can't win.
Yeah.
If they try to win, I kill them. It's weird.
Yeah, a lot of those combo decks that pop up and are just doing super well in a vacuum, they only do so for so long.
Oh, Matt says that he has Charbelcher. He played Recross the Past once, and Recross the Past is the card that allows you to restack your deck. And he played it once in paper and put the deck away. Too much time wasted.
Yeah.
For Matt?
Yeah, for Matt, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, it would be just awful. It would be so awful. It would be so awful. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd kind of like to see I'd like to see those decks played just because.
That's okay.
I do think the list for the new the Charbelcher list is pretty good, actually. It's got a lot of the right interaction for the things that you would hate on it. It's pretty well designed. It's pretty well built. The last time I played it online, I had that thought. This actually seems not bad. They've got what they need, and there's a good amount of play to it, but nobody's going to want to do that shit on paper. Nobody. But it doesn't look that bad of a deck. It would be interesting, I guess, once at least to see in the store. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't need that to be a deck that's put together that people are like, I'm going to mess with everyone tonight and spend 4 hours.
It was.
Well, I mean, so I guess it depends on the player.
Yeah.
I could probably name some players that it wouldn't be that bad. But I could name some players that it would be fucking embarrassing to
I
watch
think
them play.
the same people who play that deck think Perplexing Chimera is fun in multiplayer.
When
I don't know.
Maybe. That was one of the worst experiences.
Yeah, you know what
That
I'm
was
talking
one of the
about.
worst experiences of
I
my
love
life.
playing those
hated
decks
that.
when
God.
when people are
That
doing
dashed my dreams and hopes that
I
night.
know.
That was
I
terrible.
could see you dying.
the
inside.
cleansing wildfire Jess guy when people were rolling with that, which they've kind of gone away from that. I think it's just a 2-mana spell.
Too cute.
That is just too slow for modern right now.
Yeah, it doesn't do enough. It doesn't
But
do nearly
when
enough.
when that was actually a thing, that was before Horizons. Those Charbelcher decks and the Oops All Spells decks were a blast to play because it's
Right.
just like Sinkhole, but you get to draw a card.
You're right, yeah,
because they
for
don't have
sure.
any basics. So yeah, it was a lot of fun playing those decks. Your deck was like LSVs. Okay.
LSV played that deck?
Yeah. Why?
Weird. I wouldn't think he'd play that deck.
Let's see. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, that's pretty
the
much
deck.
the deck that everybody
Yeah.
plays. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the deck.
That is the deck indeed. See, they've gone away from the secondary win condition.
What was the secondary win condition?
They just play the goblins, the empty the warrens.
Oh, okay.
Because they have the pieces to kind of do a little storm off.
They do. It's clunky as shit, though.
Yeah, I mean they have the
Yeah.
rituals and stuff. The deck's not very good.
No.
Can we just say that the deck's not very good?
Does it really pay to be pro
Does it pay to be pro?
on Channel Fireball? I don't think it probably
I mean,
does.
LSV is telling us in an ad that it does.
He looks excited with his arms crossed, and
He
Reed
does.
looks kind of creepy behind him.
He looks very directed.
like very rapey.
He's very
That's
posed.
a very rapey
He
looking.
looks almost like a mannequin, really.
He looks like
I love how we're describing a thing
he looks
on
like
a podcast.
you know when they're in the police station pushing pictures forward. It's like, yeah, that's the guy who touched my kid right there.
Totally that guy.
He did that.
All right. What are you doing over there, John Brown?
Turn on a fan.
Okay.
Why, do you need a beer or something?
No. I'm good. I'm good.
All right,
I'm good on beer.
Okay,
Is that it? We done?
So I've been away from Magic for a few months now.
Yeah.
I stopped playing. Didn't like where it was at. Didn't like what Wizards was doing. Could you guys explain what's happened in the last few months? Like what's happening with Magic? Fill
Well,
me in.
it's a bit of a shit show.
What
to
is
a
Magic
degree.
now? Because I've completely stepped away.
I guess so.
I look
Magic,
at spoilers.
like as a whole, or just like the things that happen.
I care about Modern. Locally, what's happening? What's going
So,
on?
I mean, locally, most of Magic, as far as our store, it's pretty much Commander or Modern.
Sure.
And I think overall, Commander is just basically the new face of Magic almost. They're trying to bring back competitive play a bit, but I don't think it's really. I still think Commander has become Magic.
So for Modern specifically, you look at deck lists and stuff. I think that tournaments are being dominated by the 4-color red and 6 decks.
Yeah. Yeah.
4 and I guess even 5-color.
Now, are these elemental decks or just
They
4-color
are,
good
yeah.
stuff?
Yeah,
They play a number of them defaultly.
Yeah, there's a handful of different builds, but the core is kind of always the same, which is like Ren and say. Well, the thing is, all of them play probably some number of elementals because
Yeah,
they're
they
just
play a
free
number,
cards.
yeah.
It's just there's like the elementals deck, which is just
Yeah.
kind of a tribal deck that
Basically-
sells out on it, and that deck gets to play all of them.
And this is something that we bitched about, I think, just last week. And I bitched about, after bitching about it on stream, I bitched about it to everybody in the store, too, is that it's pretty much MH cards.
Mhm.
Modern is pretty much just MH cards.
I threw it out there. I can't name a deck right now in Modern that doesn't play at least one card from one of the two
Yeah.
Horizon sets.
Modern has
I don't think
become
there is one. I really
Horizons.
don't think there is one.
And so that's, like, it's nice to a degree because some of the, I don't know,
I
it's
challenge the listeners, if you can think of one,
right.
by all means.
It's frustrating because they
No
have
bruise.
reprinted some really cool and good cards from Legacy into Modern, and none of those are the problem. Those are all healthy. The cards that they brought to Modern from Legacy all look really good, have their place, make sense. The things that are a problem are the new cards, and in varying degrees, of course. But it's definitely, I mean, it just completely warped the format. The pitch elementals warped the format. Prismatic Ending warped the format. Monkey warped the format. Darcy warped the format.
Well, because people want to create must-have cards.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
to do that, they're going to push it. Do we think that Ren 6 is bannable? I know when I stopped playing, I didn't think it was.
I think it is
Or
now.
ban-worthy.
I think it's bannable now, thanks to the Kamigawa cycle of lands that are the channel lands. Though I think that specifically is what made him a conversation about banning.
I mean, he's not going to be because he's being reprinted in Modern Horizon. Double Masters 2.
We were just talking earlier about Wizards ethics, and I think that, that may not be absolute.
The one thing you missed being away is you missed this new card, Ledger Shredder. Have you heard of this one yet, Chris?
I think I looked it up.
Yeah, that one's really good.
It
Wow, man.
basically has kind of surpassed Dragon Rage Channeler. It is a better Dragon Rage Channeler. It's
better than a lot of things.
it's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
We actually saw one of the Pioneer events. Micah Mosher kind of just dominated, and he was playing the that old what's that fucking artifact called? The graveyard.
Godfarer's Gift.
Yeah, Godfarrow's Gift. That's what the whole thing was about. But like, really, the Ledger Shredder just won on its own. Yeah,
Sure.
it just did its own thing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much talking about must-have cards. It is the best example of a must-have card now.
$23
So
card.
Matt sent us a link to the most played cards in Modern, and it's pretty interesting.
So I like the Lightning Bolts #1.
I feel like that's
Just out of
always kind of the
principle.
case.
Yeah.
No, there was a while there where it had fallen off.
No, it did.
Yeah.
It did. No, I think that's fair. I like seeing that.
Endurance is number 2, and I was on Living End pretty hard, then I stopped playing it, and this is the reason I stopped playing it. Because Endurance just started showing up in main decks all the time, and it's really frustrating when you put in all this work and you do your Living End, and then they just pitch a card in Endurance, and they get their Endurance back, and you get nothing. That sucks.
I'm curious how much this list changes if we filter out sideboard cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to see here. I mean, Mystical Dispute is number 3, Engineered Explosives, Force of Vigor. Those are all sideboard cards primarily. Fury, Chalice of the Void.
Could be main deck, but usually sideboard, I think.
It's both. I mean, you do see it main now. Spell Pierce
goes in and out of sideboard. Is it a sideboard card right now? Or
it's a main deck card right now.
Okay.
I think maybe it's one of those situations where it's the decks that want it in the main and maybe more on the side. It's really good right now.
Okay.
Relic of Progenitus and then Unholy Heat, which Unholy Heat, honestly, to me is I've argued I think it's actually the most warping card of all the Horizon sets.
Which card?
Unholy Heat.
Oh, that one's very, very warping. Yeah.
Yeah, just because of the amount of things that you can no longer really get away with playing.
Yeah.
And I mean,
And so the interesting thing about that card, coming back to bannings a little bit, you get rid of Bobble, now that card is not warping at all.
Oh yeah, you and I have had
like,
this conversation many a time on stream and in private. Like, yeah, Mishra's Bobble. If you ban Mishra's Bobble in Modern, it changes the format a lot.
Yeah, very much
like
so.
like I think most people don't understand the scope of how much banning that card changes the scope, because all of a sudden Dragon Rage Channeler is no longer a playable card.
No, and probably, honestly, I would say that more importantly, Unholy Heat.
Unholy Heat isn't a playable card
And
because Dragon Rage Channeler isn't it.
That will open the format back up. And I think that, getting back to the Red and 6 thing too, if we want to see my position on a really dynamic and interesting Modern format is get rid of Bobble and Ren and 6, because getting rid of those cards will open the format wide open. So many things that you can't play now thanks to Unholy Heat are playable again. So many things you can't play now thanks to Ren and 6 are playable again. Like, it would be a breath of fresh air. Like, and Ragavan's still really good. A lot of the flagship cards of the M8 sets are still super good and will be played. And the format's still strong and still super intense. You just open it up again. You know?
I kind of agree with you. And generally, when you have this debate, when there's enough cards worthy of a ban that you are debating which ones, I think it's generally safer to ban the cheaper cards.
Sure.
I.e. Bobble, which is free.
Right.
And the 2-mana Planeswalker, which I can't believe I'm saying those words out loud.
Right.
But
yeah, exactly.
I think my least favorite legal card in Modern is actually Omnath.
I agree with that
is
too,
just
yeah.
like, it's a 4-drop, so it's kind of weird like to talk about it in like any kind of a ban talk, but like the card's just super obnoxious, has way too much text. Like,
yeah,
a 4-drop should not do this many things.
Well, and with Ren and 6, it would make him worse, but I do still agree that, because Modern is a format, well, everything Pioneer, like anything older than Pioneer, mana-wise, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can play anything you want, really. And the only downside to doing that is the cost of life. Omnath, there's no cost to that anymore.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the bigger downsides is he's so free, because the cost to playing 4-color, 5-color decks is the hit you take. And when you have him, that hit's gone. It doesn't matter anymore. Playing a 5-color deck back in the day, it'd have been like, burn, oh fuck, I'm going to die. Or play bad cards to get through it.
I can't imagine being a burn player and trying to fuck with that, Where it's just like, if they get to turn 4, they just kind of win,
Yeah, no, like that's terrible. You can't attack through it. You can't do anything to it. Like,
they got to untap with Omnath. They play a fetch land. Now they're going to gain 4 life on their turn and mine.
Yeah, no, I agree too. Omnath is definitely not okay. He'd be worsened by the other if those other two things were gone, but he's still definitely problematic.
Burn plays the lands. They play the they play the Horizon lands or the Horizon Canopy style lands.
Yeah, those lands. They do play those.
So
and that's actually a really big deal for Burn for sure.
Yeah. So what else you got?
I noticed Relic of Progenitus. When I was last playing, people were playing the Lantern and trying to say that was better than Relic of Progenitus. Lantern Lost, maybe?
I don't... Yeah,
most decks play both.
It's the thing from Theros. I don't think that it is... It's not better than Relic for sure.
In some decks it is. Against some decks it is.
Yeah. I think that it is... I think it's the best one since Relic. I think it... Yeah, I would place Relic first just because Relic's Relic. But it's a good card. It's a very respectable card. It was better in the days when Lurrus was still around because then you could actually cycle it to draw cards and keep that going.
Sure.
And that was good. No, it's probably the most respectable graveyard card printed. I wouldn't say that
it's better against combo decks because you can just set it and forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
And just do whatever you want, and it doesn't cost any mana to get rid of your opponent's graveyard and instant speed it anytime.
The incremental value of still hitting something on enter actually carries some weight, you know. But because the enter is a target thing anyway, so it really is situational. I actually like that it was printed because it rounds out that niche place in card design to handle a specific threat.
Sure.
I think it's good that that's there, you know.
Sure.
So did you guys figure out a deck that doesn't play? I've got one in my mind, and I don't know. I don't know that Ad Nauseam has changed at all in the last 10 years.
No, I think Tameshi also doesn't really play much from Horizons. No, actually, never mind. It does. The Tameshi thing, the fucking goofy.
I was like, are we going to call that a deck?
Well, it's kind of a deck. It's not really a deck. It's one of those fringy combo decks, but it still plays at Latimer's Call. So everything does.
Yeah. Like we talked about that. If you ban Bobble and you're still trying to do these like DRC decks, like, I'm sorry, but I know this has changed, but I don't know that it has any Horizons cards. Does it? I know it's changed because the win condition has changed.
Oh yeah, what's your win condition now?
It's you draw your whole deck and win with the little
the little Merfolk guy. That's right. Yeah.
But I don't. That might be the one deck that doesn't have any Horizons cards.
But no, Magic it's changed, and I definitely, for people like you that bowed out, Chris, I definitely get it because it's hit some pretty unhealthy points. I'm still and I always will be pretty salty that Commander is so forward in Magic, but it still has a chance to get back to its roots. It's the thing I bitch the most about in Magic overall now is just the quantity of cards being printed. I think that's the biggest downside, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, again, feel like an old man saying back in the day, but I remember when does the next set come out? Now it's like, the next set's coming out?
No, that's a great point because it used to be so exciting.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
it's out. Profane Tutors in the deck.
Oh, yep.
All right. Ad Nauseam doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But no, it's a bitch for me because I remember pre-COVID, our pre-releases, our midnights were banging. I mean, we had 40, 50 players a lot of the time. And
I don't think Tron does, but our thought process is Tron is not actually a deck.
Thanks to MH2 cards.
Yeah.
Or MH cards. But so no, it used to be so exciting to have pre-releases because everybody was genuinely excited for a set. And now it's tiresome. And it's tiresome for me as a store owner too. I'm like, man, I have so much shit I want to do. But it's like what I'm doing in my store is stymied to a degree by, there's this big release that we have to be all in on. Because we have to be all in on it because it's nothing but fucking money cards. Like, oh my God. And it's like, just slow the fuck down. Bring it back to its core elements. And like, the thing too, if they slow it down to that degree, people could get back to opening boxes and opening product for the pure joy of it. And being able to hey, we can trade cards. We don't have to worry that much about value because we can I don't know. There's too much. There's too much. Magic has just becoming more and more pull tabs, becoming more and more Pokemon. It's becoming more and more the things that I've always said that Magic is the classiest card game, and it's becoming less and less classy all the time.
A lot of stuff has affected that. I think the secret layers
Those
have,
also
have taken a lot of the, like you said, the class, the majesty of like this beautiful custom art.
Is that just because of the reprints? Is that what we're talking about? Like, because I know that everybody's excited about the reprint of Disciple of the Ring.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
you're buying a box of this, and that's taking up one of your rare slots.
Yeah.
That's Jesus.
Woohoo! I mean, there's some good ones. Like we're looking at Surgical Extraction right next to it.
But it's not even.
That's a good
It's
one.
not playable.
It's not worth that much anymore either.
No, it's
Like
not.
I tried to skim.
Again, I'm just trying to think.
I guess it goes in the
Don't
mill
pretend
deck.
to be something you're not, John. I tried to look through this
right.
right before we started, and I see like 20 cards, which is a lot normally, that I think are probably like worth some money. And if you get them foil, like you're feeling real good.
The thing that they do with these things, it's always the same. They always have one or two things that are the fucking bangers that gets everybody out. And what they did this time is Imperial Seal.
Well, and as you say that, by the way, as you say one or two things, the thing that I think new players don't know, and it seems like people, even franchise players, forget, is that not all mythics are printed equally. Not all rares are printed equally.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you don't get. There's a reason that you have 80 of rare number 4 and you only open 2 Snapcaster
But that works so
mages.
well for them.
There's a reason
Yeah.
there aren't 4 Snapcaster mages open during your draft,
Yeah.
and there are 8 of the other rare.
Yeah, exactly. No, they do that for sure.
Imperial Seal. What a shit card, man.
No, but the thing is, it's
disadvantage.
never been printed. It's only existed in the fucking wacky portal sets, the Three Kingdoms. That's the only time that thing's been printed. So that's the thing about how their model is now. They're like, man, we need to make some money. Let's print Imperial Seal. Boom.
Where does
They
Imperial
make a
Seal
fuckload
play?
of money.
See play?
Commander.
Vintage Cube.
Commander and Vintage Cube.
Yeah.
I had an opponent playing Imperial Seal. It's sorcery speed, so they played it, and they didn't have a way to draw a card, so they passed turn. I untapped, played Jason Mind Sculptor, and put it on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not good, but I mean that's the thing. Again, Magic has become Commander. For most intensive purposes, Magic has become Commander, so they can always get money out of cards if they're Commander themed. Always.
And you know what, John? Maybe that's what Magic is becoming.
It is.
And I mean, maybe Wizards is going, you know what?
Fuck it.
And Modern is not our format anymore. We're
Yeah.
not that concerned with Standard. We're going to treat them like we used to treat Commander. They are our side product.
No, I
Imperial
actually
Seal's fun with Monkey.
right. Yeah. Dash in this monkey.
What'd you put up there? Is it something good?
Thanks for the card, asshole. Yeah. No, it's I think they are doing that. I think they are just leaning into it, and it's again good business model. It works for them. I mean, whatever. And you know what? And even if that happened, honestly, it doesn't bother me that much because the beauty of the game. And I said this to somebody the other day. I know that I'll never stop playing this game. You know, because I love the game. I think it's just the best game. Cards are not, whatever cards are present, whatever they do, printing cards, any of that nonsense. The game, I think, is the best game. And I don't need Wizards to play the thing that they made. Like, if I was stranded on a goddamn desert island, I could play this game from my memory. And I probably fucking would. Come the apocalypse and goddamn all hell rains down. I'm making shit out of like scraps of fucking human flesh. I can still play Magic. And I probably would. You know? So like, if it gets to that point where they just damn a given format and like, fuck you guys, we don't care anymore. There is the potential for the community to be like, all right, well, fuck you. You know? Whatever. Fuck you. You don't want to support our format, and we support our format. And so I at least there's that. You know, if they just lean into nonsense, we as a community still get to decide what we want to play. You know,
This is true, but then you've got to go with the community. And I guess I stopped playing because I felt the community had shifted so much.
and it has shifted.
From like classic art and competitive, and I enjoyed the story too. Okay, they're kind of being weird with the story, but I love the mechanics of the game. I'm still going to play it. Wow, you keep printing like busted stuff and charging $100 for a pack. Not into that. And now as I leave, we're in the stage where it's like, get your star sign secret layer lands.
Yeah,
And,
no, it's
and like all these different weird themes that are like either weird or political or like
yeah,
just
no,
funky.
I know, yeah.
Like what is there for me at this stage? What is
No,
it?
and so
that's
the thing is, what I would say to that, because all that is super valid, super fair. And the thing that I say to that, and the thing that I'll say to most anything in the world, really, as far as these kind of dynamic subject matters, is you have the community.
Mm-hmm.
So while that's what's happening in the game as a whole, what at least I think I'm trying to do and hope I am doing is carving out a little piece where we can care about the things that need cared about. You know, like we'll have guys, who's playing Commander on the side, and they're more than welcome, but like we get to dictate our play space, And so while some of this stuff might put a bad taste in our mouths, you can find the right people to play with and build. You can create the community that you want within the game if you can find the right people.
I guess I have a weird metric for things that I enjoy, which is could I in good conscience recommend this to people? And I used to be able to say with Magic, like you said, it's the best mechanics, it has amazing art, has story, and now if someone asks me like, what is Magic? I have to say, well, if you wait a couple months, you'll probably be able to get your Scorpio lands.
Right.
And you can find a card called Bearscape, which was part of the gay secret layer that has guys bathing naked.
Right.
And I'm like, classic fantasy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are we doing, Wizards?
And again,
I
I feel you. I feel you, Chris. I think that it's out of hand. It's out of hand.
I don't get it.
I just ignore. For me, I ignore all the nonsense, and I just try to stay true to the experience that I want out of it. But yeah, that's fucking
when you
nonsense.
get back into it, Chris, you'll be happy to know that Jeskai Control is actually kind of a top deck. I mean, it's not really Jeskai, but the top control deck is Blue-White Control that now plays one Jeskai Triome and one Steam Vents.
Lightning Helix.
No. for the fire side of Fire Ice.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up very often, but you have an extra burn spell in there if you want it. You mostly just cast the ice half.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough for me, personally.
No, I definitely agree that the things have gone awry, and it's like I said before, like for me...
Horribly awry.
The spirit, horribly awry. The spirit of the game is very much... we've walked far from that.
Mm-hmm.
And even to the casual nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like... When I got into playing competitively, casual turned into something else I didn't like it to be anymore. And then now competitive's turning into something else I don't like it to be either.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, again, I just think that we just have to fucking say, fuck all of you, fuck whatever kind of community you want to push upon us for this game. We're going to carve out a little fucking space, and we're going to make it what we want to make it.
Yeah.
And that's the only recourse, I think, for players. We just have to do that. Because they're going to keep doing what they're going to do, obviously. There's no stopping it. Like, they're going to print whatever they want to print. They're going to tilt the game however they want to tilt it. We need to do what we need to do to keep our play space what we want it to be.
This is true.
So,
which you are in a unique position to do.
Yeah, and that's what I try.
Above everyone else because you own the shop that the cards get played in.
No, and that's what I try to do, and I try not to cater to the status quo of the Magic community, and I've done the same thing for my business as a whole overall. Like, this is my fucking house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll do what the fuck I want in my house. And it's the same as tattooing, too. I don't fucking clamor around to be the fucking cool tattoo guy. I fuck goddamn Magic in my shot. Like, I don't give a fuck about the tattoo community. Fuck you, I'm gonna play Magic. Magic community, I don't give a fuck about what you're doing over here. I want to play Magic my way. Fuck everybody. Like, if you like it, you'll find it, and you'll take home here. Otherwise, I don't give a fuck. Like, this is what we do. And that's what more people need to do, in the community as a whole. Like, we need to fucking carve out our little spaces that make sense for us.
It's true.
It's not going to happen, but that's a good point.
I mean, I'm making it happen right now, so I'm trying to.
Yeah.
There is, even as I left, there was, and I assume there still is, a core of people who seem to be really interested in the competitive scene.
No, there are, and that's what we facilitate. We got some guys.
Carmel and three other people that he usually came with. And There's a couple other people.
No, we've actually reinvigorated competitive here in the store, and it feels good. Thanks to those guys, in a big sense. And thanks to just our regulars like Matt and the guys that do play here. And there's still some guys that like to play more, that are a little bit more casual players, but still are willing to take the licks.
I appreciate those guys.
Little Humes and such, man.
Yeah,
Like,
he's here busting his ass every week, you know.
Yeah. And that's why, like I say, if you build it, they'll come. Like, people will find the place that makes sense to them, because, like, it's not just the status quo. Like, we can build something.
And that's an important thing for that you do get out there, and I guess I kind of shied away from, because I saw the community changing, saw the tone of Magic changing, and chose to, rather than be a stick in the mud, I'm just going to pull back because I'm not getting the same enjoyment.
Right.
And kind of lost touch with the fact that you're still pushing for the good old
we
days.
We need a bunch of goddamn sticks in the mud. That is actually a great summation of me as a person. Is a fucking stick in the mud. And so, like, my shop is just like, fuck everything. We're here. You know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's why I want to be a beacon to people that are like, yeah, fuck that shit. We're going to hang out over here. So that's what we need. And that's the best answer to what's happening to the Magic community. And it's the same way, I think the same way in the tattoo community. I think it's the best answer to what's happening in the tattoo community. Like, fuck all this nonsense. Fuck all this, you know, just posturing for the sake of maintaining some handed down concept. Like, no, we're gonna do what we do, you know. So
Blood Moon.
Blood Moon is a problem.
Blood Moon should be banned. It's a bad card.
It is a bad card.
Don't forget that I don't think I didn't see those top cards. That fucking Magus of the Moon was one of the top 10 big creatures.
No, Blood
Moon
is
disgusting.
Silly. It's silly. Magus of the Moon. Like, so I've had this played against me. Like, once somebody played Magus of the Moon against me. I didn't have red mana. They gave me the mana I needed to kill it.
I do laugh anytime. It's like, oh, you already have 4 Blood Moon? No, I play Magus. Like, really?
Yeah,
that one gets lightning bolted.
It doesn't get spell pierced. Yeah. People are playing because they get spell pierced, but like it does get lightning bolted, which you know is the thing.
Can't be Besaju'd.
Yeah, we have seen spell pierced, because spell pierced was just not a good Magic card for a
while.
No,
it's definitely
after I bought foils. It stopped being a good
Magic
Magic
had
card.
one match on stream where you saw the power of spell pierced.
Oh, it just owned. Yeah, what was that?
It's the big guy, the Delve guy.
Yeah. Murktide deck.
Yeah. Murktide Regent. That deck where it's just like you play a big Murktide and then back it up with Spell Pierce, and like they just have nothing to say.
Yeah, it's exactly enough.
And Flusterstorm also looked, which I think is a trash Magic card.
Yeah, very bad.
Amazing.
Very bad.
Yeah, they just had nothing to say.
Yeah.
Flusterstorm, another good example of the card that everyone, when it came out, was like scrambling to get their 4 copies.
Oh yeah, and now it's like whatever. You can see like 5 decks that have one in the sideboard.
Yeah, exactly.
And it only looks good half the time.
By the way, I these Besaiju card Magus can't beat Besaiju.
Can't be Besaiju.
Can't be Besaiju.
It's not the land that lets it be uncounterable? What? I think you different Besaiju.
Talking about the Besaiju, the land where you. Oh, okay. So they have they have these new pitched lands.
Oh right, yeah.
Okay.
Is that the green one?
So Blood Moon, they can just Besaiju.
Okay.
I think Besaiju is actually it's like kind of this hot take that I've been hammering on, and so far nobody has proved me wrong. I think it's the card that everybody got really excited about. Isaiah was on like this kick, like when it was spoiled. He's like, "Do you think that card will be banned?" And I'm like, "No." And like, I think it's actively bad. Like it has played out very, very poorly in my opinion.
Besaiju who endures. Yeah, that one. That was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Why would that card be banned?
It can't
ever?
be channel killed, sure. But you know, the thing is, Blood Moon's not even all that good. Right? I mean, like, Blood Moon's getting worse and worse in a land of, like, you're playing Blood Moon and they're playing Monkey and making treasures. I mean, like every card makes treasure tokens now, it seems.
Yeah, that is a huge thing.
The more things they do that make treasure tokens, the less impact your Blood Moon's gonna have.
Yeah. That is definitely something maybe worth some conversation, man. Like, of all the incidental artifact tokens they printed, treasures, because of what they continue to print, are getting more and more obnoxious.
treasures are. I didn't know that they were when they did them initially that they were going to be like an evergreen kind of.
Well,
thing.
I don't think they intended that, but they just ran with it, and now they're just
keep
printing
doing it.
crazier and crazier shit. And it's like, it's not free mana because they're attached to cards that you spend mana on. So maybe that's the rationale why it's okay to print the shit out of it. But at the end of the day, I should agree you free mana.
So in the current league, the standard sealed league that we're doing, like I have the deck that kind of takes advantage of this, and it's the what's it called, jeweler or
3/3 for 3.
yeah, okay. So I can't. The name of the card is escaping me, but like it is for a green and 2, so 3 mana. You get a 3/3 vigilant trample. When it enters the battlefield, make a treasure token. It feels really fucking busted.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Because
fucking
I
good
play
combo.
one on turn 3, and then I play another on turn 4, and then on turn 5 I can play anything.
yeah. No, I think they should definitely consider like slowing that down a little bit because a lot of strategies are really hinging on that. And I'm pretty sure it's done a lot of damage in Commander too. Like a lot of shit.
The treasures.
The treasure thing. I'm pretty sure it's doing some crazy shit in Commander. And just slow down, guys. Like you printed Lotus Petal years ago, and we're like, oh fuck. Let's never do that again for a while. And they're like, well, let's just attach Lotus Petals to everything we print. Guys, like,
Hey,
I mean, really? Like, is that okay? Or, did you think this through every time you do it? Like, for Ixalan, it was cool. It was super fucking thematic. It made sense, you know? Like, and here or there it makes sense. But yeah, no, it's literally in every fucking set now. And why? Is there, I mean, so sure, conceptually, can be argued that there's treasure in every set. There's wealth in every world.
Sometimes
there's not
the treasure is the friends you make along the way to finding the actual treasure, John.
You ever think about that?
right? So, yeah.
Is that a Goonies thing?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
They didn't know how to say treasure. They just said rich stuff.
Rich stuff.
I
Yeah.
just remember the big guy who yelled a lot. It's the only thing I've seen.
He did
of it.
yell a lot, yeah.
I'm not sure what his character main character
rich
trait
stuff.
was.
It's like no
Like,
no child would ever
that?
say rich stuff. Rich stuff is just like what an adult might like
think
think
a
that a
child
child
say?
might
Yeah.
say when really they're just going to say the treasure the same as everybody
that is exactly
else.
what they would say.
Fucking gold!
You're right. But yeah, and then there's a lot of that stuff
What a
that's
trash movie.
getting out of hand, man. There's so much stuff getting out of hand.
Let's just, for a positive note here, a quick
I'm
look.
trying to be positive. I don't agree with a lot of what I'm hearing.
A quick look through. Are there 3 cards here that, like, I'm seeing some cards here that I would like.
Seasoned Pyromancer.
If I could
That's one of the
open
best red cards ever
3
printed.
individual cards, what would they be, John, out of the set as you look through? Like you,
That I would want
Pyromancer.
to open.
yeah.
So season, I mean, most of the mythics are actually, I don't know, I guess.
There's a few duds, but a lot of them are
there's
good.
some duds. So for me, for mythics, it'd be Monastery Mentor, Season Pyromancer, and Lily the Last Hope, just because I love that card. Rares.
It's got stupid new art though.
Right. Rares.
But a lot of people seem to be into stupid new arts. So
I mean, it's not bad art. I don't think it's terrible.
It's
I
not
don't
bad
like
art.
her face.
She's dramatic.
She's a butterface.
For rares, I'd say
Her last hope is
probably.
a crash diet.
I've
She
always.
looks like she's gotten into the meth.
I've
a
never
little bit.
played Rishkar, but I think it's a cool card.
Have you not?
Yeah, it's,
Maybe I
it's
have once.
unplayable.
Did a long
Maybe he's
time ago.
unplayable. I think he's decent. I like the design of him. Bedlam Reveler, that's huge for me. I love Bedlam Reveler. And Venser for rares would be good ones that I would like to enjoy open.
Great in Vintage Cube.
Yeah, Venser's good. Uncommons, Young Pyromancer.
Wall of Omens.
Yep. Wild Omens all day. Give me that shit.
I'm gonna go with Lightning Bolt.
Is Lightning Bolt still worth anything? Because I remember when I was first getting in, I was like,
It's
God,
still
I
like
gotta
it's
spend
still a few-
$3 on
Yeah,
this?
no, it's still like a few bucks probably.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's $1 now. I haven't looked in a while.
Carmel's got those ones that are like over $1,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
The Judge promo one?
Yeah, there's a
Except the
version of
Judge
Lightning Bolt for
promos.
everybody's budget.
That's true.
It is
That's true. If you just want some classic revised white border bolts. I got those for days, man. Those are
Yeah.
trash.
No, I mean, if
they don't
you-
seem to fit into sleeves very
Lightning
well.
Bolt is definitely a card that you can spend as much money as your heart desires on a playset of Lightning Bolt. You can spend a fucking crazy shit ton, or you can spend nothing. Like the Baldur's Gate reprint Lightning Bolt was super, super disappointing. Did you guys see that?
I have
I don't know
not.
what Bolter's Gate is.
What's the commander?
The secret layer lightning bolts
Yeah.
are ugly.
I think those are really cool. No, the Baldur's Gate reprint Lightning Bolt. I actually like the concept of the art, but the approach the artist took to try to capture it doesn't work on a Magic card because it's a tiny piece of artwork. It's basically a lightning bolt traveling down like a narrow like bridge to like a door on this little hut at the end of the bridge, and like it could be done really cool, but they just didn't do anything with it. Oh, then that shitty sketch art is also really bad.
Okay, so I've seen this.
Yeah, it's very boring.
Yeah.
It's super boring.
I think the new frame makes everything more boring too. A new frame, the frame that's been around for the
Yeah,
last.
no.
Yeah.
As long
I
as
do
I've been
agree.
playing.
Yeah, that was actually talking about reprints. My favorite reprints. We're putting cards in the old frame.
Yeah.
Those are my
Yeah.
favorite reprints. That's
The art just pops so much
the
better.
those are the reprints that I want, man. Just give me more of the shit. Just take everything back to the OG frame. I'll be happy as a clam. I don't need any of this new shit. But even still, see, $1.
$1
for this shitty artwork lightning bolt.
It's a foil.
Oh, okay, 50 cents. That's still something. It's not nothing.
This is fucking atrocious. I don't even know what's going on in this art.
It's a lightning bolt going down some weird bridge thing over a river.
It's the old sideways lightning bolt. You don't see
So-
those very often.
Well, in the MTG game that Baldur's Gate is in, or not MTG game, sorry, D&D universe that Baldur's Gate is in, you cast lightning bolt
Yeah.
from your finger
Oh, okay.
in a line at other people.
Wow.
And so, like,
The more you know.
all they would have to do to make that dynamic is the perspective of the art be over the shoulder of the person casting lightning bolt
Yeah.
and fucking melting some dude.
Seeing it bounce down the chamber and
Yeah,
This
like
just
that.
goes to show
Boom!
where
Right
they
there.
tried to do the D and like
oh god,
the
get me started.
D and D
Oh, it's
Magic
translated
Smash.
super
Everything
poorly.
has been garbage. Like
No, it's
Every like instance of them trying to integrate D&D into
and
Magic
it's so
has
weird
been
because it shouldn't be that
fail.
hard for
No,
them to knock it out
shouldn't
of
be
the
that hard.
park.
they made named characters. So the dark elf Drizzt, however you want to pronounce
Super
it,
huge character,
super huge character. Like in fantasy, in literature,
right?
consistently is one of the top 10 most beloved characters of all time.
Sure.
His card is dog shit.
Yeah,
They gave him a shit card.
it's just
for
a
Inner Battle
knockoff
Hammer.
version of Tosamir Wolfblood.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Another
yeah.
huge character. Dog shit card. Just a generic dwarf. Like
right.
there's a bunch. There's like 3 or 4 other, I think, named characters that their cards are just shit. And it's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
Just put it in D&D and don't have
It
the cool
is-
characters now.
yeah.
It is the worst limited format maybe ever that I've ever played.
Yeah,
It's one of 2 leagues since we started doing league here at the shop. It's one of 2 that didn't finish. One was due to COVID, and one was due to this set because, like week 5, we looked around at each other and was like, "Does anybody still want to do this?"
Yeah, no, yeah,
and
for
everybody
sure.
was just like, "Not really." And it's like, "All right, well, let's just reconvene when the new set comes out." And like that's literally what we did. Everybody everybody was doing the exact same thing. It was literally just like play your 2 drops and turn them sideways.
Yeah,
you know,
red
it's like
aggro and nothing but.
like everybody was in like red green. You know, like it was really that's the other thing. All the other colors are kind of unplayable, so like everybody's just drafting the same stuff.
No,
so
it sucks because that in and of itself is just another money grab. Like, we're gonna
Oh,
play
yeah.
D&D stuff,
Yeah.
so all the D&D people jump on it just because.
jokes on them. There's no money in that set.
That's how bad.
There's
By the,
$5 commons apparently.
that was the last set that I consistently played for, and honestly, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Because at the end of that, I realized like I didn't buy any of that product. I went
Yeah.
to 2 pre-releases and did nothing else with it.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to play Magic for a little while.
Right.
Because like this
Yeah.
I should have loved this, and God,
Yeah.
it was awful.
No, they did
And
not.
I
They did
Carmel
not
likes
follow
the
through.
Manlands with the book cover.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, sure.
Actually, that's the contribution for the D&D set was the Manlands. Those are all very good.
Yes.
Actually.
But Dustin hates the blue one.
I actually like the blue.
You turned
do-
around.
you
Yeah.
like it now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I played a blue-black control deck where that was the only win
So
condition,
fucking
and
hard.
it turned around for me.
Dude, yeah.
What was that?
That happens.
it happened.
It
The
got
lights
sunny.
come on.
yeah.
it just happens.
I'll have that looked at.
Yeah, that was it was strange.
But no, that is definitely the biggest.
Yeah, I've come around on that card.
Oh, Den of the Bugbear is awesome.
Oh,
too.
yeah, it is.
Dude,
That's
Den of the Bugbear
great.
is fucking
So-
fantastic.
This is something I've been wanting. This is completely off topic, but it's something that I wanted to talk to you about, Chris. We had a debate a while back, and it was about consider and putting consider into because you were running opt instead of consider, and I was
Yes.
like, why not just run consider? It's better. And so I'm gonna do a thing that I don't normally do. Is I'm gonna be humble and actually like apologize on your tech. Now, that being said, I still think that you're wrong.
I think you're wrong and your reasoning is bad, but hear me out.
Yeah. Okay, so you said that the reason you didn't want consider in your deck was because you had only one copy of Teferi, and you felt like it was a really important closer for you, and you didn't want to be in an awkward situation where you needed something and had to put your important closer into your graveyard.
I think that I said Teferi, and I was cutting down on Shark Typhoons, and there might have been one other card that I had like one copy
Yeah.
of. I'm like, I don't want to mill these.
So I thought that was idiotic because if that's that important to your strategy, then you should probably be playing more than one copy. It's kind of what I thought. So then I started playing. I was playing a blue-black control deck online, and it's kind of the same thought that you had, but I ran into a similar problem, which was, I felt this awkwardness where I was put in a position where I was having to put fetchable lands into my graveyard.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't really want this in my graveyard because I only have so many lands that actually tap for mana.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one game where I ended up like binning like 3 lands that tap for mana, and it was like a control mirror, and it went really long. And I would like being down those lands in my deck got really awkward in the late game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did kind of turn around on that. And I do think Consider is by far the more powerful card. I do think that there are builds where Opt is probably the better choice for your deck.
Yeah.
And so I don't fault you for playing Opt because I ran into the same thing. But mine was more about the lands than about a specific card that I was worried about binning.
I have a similar thought of, I think I have 3 sources in my deck that tap for red.
Yeah.
And so I can't afford, and I don't need to fetch red right away. So if I'm considering away red sources,
Yeah.
I have a Steam Vents, and for some reason, half the decks I'm playing against can just blow up a land. I don't know why.
How do you play so many Lightning Helix with only 3 red sources?
Because it gains me 3 life. Dustin, have you not read the card?
Oh my god!
I have a
my
Texas
God.
Virgin. I'll tell you what it does. So the red half is what deals with the 3 damage, but the white half, you see, it gains you 3 life.
Now,
So,
we're
now
talking
you know.
about those cards. It's those micro, and that's what makes magic is those little transactions,
Mm-hmm.
little interactions, little trades that you make on value, and that's what really defines what cards really are. And the players that play the cards is
Mm-hmm.
understanding those interactions. And I think that goes back to the Lantern versus the other thing,
Lorelka Progenitors.
because it's a similar thing. Like sometimes in this deck, in this situation, this will be better than this, so. And it's nice that it's nice that they have relics and lanterns and considers and ops.
Yeah.
For
That's
the
what fills
Relic
the game
Lantern
out.
thing, I think the one thing we can all agree is that Graft Digger's Cage has never done anything.
No.
It doesn't do anything anymore for sure. It doesn't at all.
And
Like,
people consistently bring it in against decks that it doesn't do anything against.
Yeah.
You see it against Living End all the time, and
Yeah.
the Living End
Well,
players just like licking
I feel
their
like
chops like
the
I
only-
see it against Control. Jeskai Control, I see it.
Yeah.
Against
Yeah,
me.
that's really
Yeah.
bad. That's anybody that does
Like-
that with like Rest in Peace too.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
and
anytime-
I've seen people
Oh,
bring
so
in
nice.
the black, like the ley line.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, Ley Line of the
And
Void.
people brought that
worst.
in
Yeah,
against
yeah.
Control, and don't even get me started on ley lines, but like.
That is one of the worst examples of the use of a lane line ever, man.
Any
Oh,
graveyard
God.
hate against Control. Like, what? You
No, that's
need
just
to
not the point. That's not the point.
You need to be pitching a Terminate or something,
Yeah.
because that's...
You need to be
Even then-
aggressive as shit against control. That's the only option. Like get under.
The last thing you want to do against control is put yourself down cards.
Mm-hmm.
And
tempo.
that's what this does. And like another sideboard snafu I hate against control is the bringing in surgical extractions to like
Shut off cryptics.
you know like
shut
when-
off the Snapcaster.
Yeah, yeah.
Hit your Snapcaster.
yeah because it never ends up working that way. It ends up being like, you know what, I'm just randomly gonna
Yeah.
take all of this out of your deck, and it's like, well, I only had one, so that's cool.
Well,
you
but
know?
what happens is they hold it, hoping for the right moment, and then they spend it on whatever just feels the best. Like I've been holding this for 3 fucking turns.
But
and
even if you
goddamn it, I gotta
get
do something with
even
it.
if you get them, say you're like your opponent's like end of turn, Snapcaster Mage targeting Lightning Bolt. In response to that target, I take all the Lightning Bolts out of your deck.
2.
Like, yeah, well, regardless of the number,
Say 4, whatever.
you went down a card, they didn't. That's a 1 for 0.
And
Right?
if you paid life
You
for
got
it,
nothing for it.
Yeah.
if you
You
paid
should-
life for it, then you pretty
Yeah.
much got vaulted in.
Yeah. You spent a card to take away extra value.
Right.
You know, you spent
Yeah.
a card for gravy is what you
Right.
did. And it's so bad.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, if you've identified, whatever, Archmage's Charm is so bad, and I'm just gonna hit it as soon as I can. It's one thing. It's still not good. But I've had the actual scenario of Snapcaster Mage targeting Archmage's Charm. Surgical it. Okay. Shit. I'll just cast the one in my hand then to draw 2 cards. Okay. Yeah, I've got none in my hand.
Right.
There's 2 more in the deck.
Yeah.
You want them?
Right.
Like there's just it.
no,
And
it's,
honestly, any graveyard interaction, unless it is a graveyard control.
no, that is exactly what you should be doing. The only time you
No.
bring in graveyard is when it's a real graveyard deck.
Yes.
And
Don't do
knowing
it.
when it's a real graveyard deck. Like, yeah, a little incidental use is one thing versus it's dredge.
Mhm.
Like, you're playing dredge? Yeah, all of it. Bring it in. Have to have it. But anything else, like, oh, you use your graveyard a little bit, you delved, you fucking snapped. Like, no, just stop it. Just kill them. Just like, that's the bit. Kill
Make them dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make them fucking
Yeah.
dead.
I've also found that like we were talking about the Murktide the Is It Murktide decks. Graveyard hate against those decks really ineffective.
No, it
just
doesn't do
just
anything. Yeah.
really ineffective. Like you can bring in your your lanterns and your relics or whatever, and like they just don't care. Like
No, because they're going to fill their shit up so fast anyway.
So
And-
that's where you have to lean on Leyline of the Void, Rips, permanent solutions.
Which, by the way, Chris, we failed to mention this. We talked about it a lot last week, but in the new set, there actually is a graveyard hate card that is probably the best one in Modern right now. It's Unlicensed Hearse. It's a vehicle.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's 2 mana for a vehicle, and you can tap it to exile 2 cards from any one graveyard, and then you can crew it for 2. And its power and toughness is equal to the number of cards that you've exiled with it.
Jesus.
So like
Yeah.
it's just the fact that you can hit 2 cards every turn, and
Yeah.
the fact that it turns into a win condition,
Yeah, it's, it's pretty
at the
solid.
end, that probably is the best one, and that one actually does work pretty well. Like I know that another reason that I stopped, like people are main decking that card. Like
Yeah.
the Is It Murktide decks are main decking it for the mirror,
Yeah.
and then like
Well,
I show up with Living In, and it's just like, well, fuck me, turn 2 that.
Well, and
How do I ever win?
We're going to see more and more of that as time goes on. There's going to be more and more main board graveyard cards. You know, like you're going to have to do something. It's going to be a thing where you just have to do something utterly explosive with your graveyard.
Yeah.
You're just,
Well, I mean, that's been an ebb and flow for a while.
It has,
though.
it has.
Like,
They're leaning
they
into it.
banned something to keep it in
Yeah.
check, Like,
well, and the other thing is too, we're going to see more like with delve things. You know, like they use their graveyard, but your graveyard hate doesn't really matter. And like a graveyard hate thing is gonna turn them off. They're still gonna do what they do.
yeah. What was that that black green thing that with the first Horizon set, the one that was like super busted and like everybody had to play
Oh, Hogak.
Hogak, like you just main deck black ley line. Like the
Yeah.
black deck just played main deck ley lines.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like this is how we do it now.
Yeah.
And it usually wasn't good enough.
And that's one of the interesting things about the game overall, just seeing how it goes. Like seeing the shifts are interesting when the shifts are interesting, but the shifts haven't been as interesting since Modern Horizons. Because that's the thing with Modern Horizons 1, it wasn't a shift, it wasn't a shakeup. It was I'm gonna turn it upside down. And
We
then
went-
MH2.
We
They
introduced guns essentially.
They didn't learn anything in MH2. It's like, no, just fucking nope, turn it upside down. Like, and that's why I like the idea of them doing some supplemental set to help Pioneer, but it's just gonna be the same fucking thing. Clearly, they don't know how not to do that.
There's a difference.
That's why,
so
yeah.
it'll turn into that because they'll keep doing it, and eventually it'll be just as problematic, as what you're seeing in Modern. The thing is, though, for right now, they should be doing that.
Yeah.
Pioneer needs it. They
Well,
need an infusion
you know
of
what?
some
I
things.
would say that Modern needed some of the stuff in Horizons. It's
For
the
sure.
goddamn quantity and frequency of this shit.
Pioneer needs energy, but we don't need to mainline meth for it. Maybe
Exactly.
that's not
for sure.
good.
And that's what they've done so
we
far.
have the
with-
meth addict Modern ODing in the corner.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
we don't
exactly.
give
That
it
is
to Pioneer
exactly-
too.
Yeah, no, for sure. That is exactly what's happening, and I've said it for a long time. They need to get back to printing things at a nice even keel, a nice pace.
So I think Pioneer's problem is it's a reflection of what they've started doing with Standard, which is they stopped printing efficient answers and started printing more powerful, efficient creatures.
Yeah,
And
that disparity is not okay.
yeah, the creatures just do everything now.
Yeah.
They
No, and
draw
that's-
you cards, they gain you life.
And I have that bitch of the game overall is that there is this huge overcorrection because creatures were dog shit, and now creatures were dog shit when the game began, and now creatures are just completely out of hand, and it's there needs to be a balancing. There needs to be a balancing happen again. You need to turn the wheel a little bit back the other way. It's just, yeah. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. They're
no,
just gonna
I
keep
think
printing
they
shit.
should just do the ban like that we've talked about. Just ban it all.
Well, yeah.
Like
If you're not gonna actually care about what you're designing and how you design it, then you have.
I just
the
want them to
only
ban, like,
option
10 cards.
Is to aggressively ban shit.
It's interesting that Wizards has talked about planeswalkers and keeping them in check because they're repeatable effects, right?
Right, and they have done that.
They have, but
They've murdered
how do you
it,
do
actually.
that and then print Ragavan?
Right.
like-
Yeah.
This creature's going to sit on the battlefield, and if it gained you 5 life and made a 3/3 and is still a 4/4 that with trample,
Right.
it's a repeatable effect. The effect is it hits you in the face every turn for 4.
Yeah.
Unless you deal with it, and it did other shit.
Right.
And I don't think Wizards has made that connection.
No, and so I was very happy to see them because Planeswalkers annoy the shit out of me. I'm an old school player. I never gave a shit about Planeswalkers about Planeswalkers anyway. And I like seeing what they did to answer Planeswalkers. They have effectively murdered Planeswalkers. I mean,
Oh,
it's not
oh,
Red
God, yeah.
6. It's not
Yeah,
being
that's-
played.
That's a good point. Carmel said because of Arena Best of Ones, and that's another
That's
thing.
another
Let's
problem.
talk about that. The real problem here is Arena.
That really does.
Arena's a fucking train wreck, man.
It is.
We had a situation in the stream a couple weeks ago where Matt had a ruling go against him that he was not expecting to go against him, and he was pretty upset about it. But he was cool about it. He talked to me about it afterwards. But the whole thing was, I'm like, yeah, if you were playing Arena, it would show that in your hand costing that much, but that's not how it actually works.
right.
And he's like, "You're right. I've heard you say so many times, Arena makes you stupid." And that's what he was thinking in his mind as it was going on. In Arena, it looks like this,
Yeah.
but that's not what it actually
No,
does to
no.
the card. So basically, there was the artifact in play that makes all your opponent's spells cost 2 more. And in his mind, he was thinking this 6-drop in my hand is actually an 8-drop.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it works. It doesn't turn the CMC into something
No,
else.
hell no.
Yep.
The CMC is still 6, but there is now an additional cost.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was playing Fires of Invention. Yeah, and you can only you can play spells with the CMC equal to the number of lands you control, and he's got a 6-drop in hand, 6 lands, and he's not playing it because he doesn't realize that he can.
Mm-hmm.
He can play that for 2 mana, and that's just another gripe. I know a lot of people play it, and I'm sorry, but you're probably not very good Magic players.
Now the problem is you could be an amazing, but there's a limiter because it does so much for you. You're essentially you're playing baseball. You're playing t-ball. You could be an amazing baseball player, but you will never know because it is teed up for you every time.
That's actually very good, Chris. I like that a lot. I've never heard it broken down that way, but to me, that's perfect. That perfectly encapsulates what Arena is. And you don't know. And honestly, Commander has the same kind of effect. There are a lot. I didn't say a lot. There are some Commander players in this building that could be really good Modern players, but like they're kind of cowards.
It's a safe zone.
It's a safe zone. Yeah, and
sure.
like Chris said, like you were away for a second. But Chris said that Arena is basically like T-ball.
I said the same thing about Commander.
Yeah. No, he said it's like T-ball, and you could be really good at baseball, but you've never tried baseball. You only play T-ball.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's a very similar thing.
No, for sure. It is very much. There's a lot of T-ball and Magic going on. It's pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
And they could be, but it's a safe zone. It's people that don't want to.
I start saying, fucking, you play Arena, you're a terrible player, and our viewers just dropped.
We didn't have that many viewers anyway. It's
a sign
Hopefully
of
they drop to go practice their game.
no, it's just there's.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
A sign of the coddling is the pacts. If you don't pay for it on your upkeep, you lose.
Oh, yeah.
Changing that ruling to it's okay if you forget to pay it on your upkeep.
God, they actually did that?
Yeah.
That makes me so fucking mad.
Yeah.
That makes me
They
so
did,
fucking
but they
mad.
didn't.
They
They
did.
did, but they did. They still have to pay it.
during the turn. So at any time, so if you don't pay it on your upkeep, you just basically have to pay it before your end step.
Right.
And I can remind you when I want you to pay it. But you can forget. You can not do what the card says because
I
they
think you
didn't want
right-click
people
it.
feeling bad about dying on their
Maybe
upkeep.
not. I don't know.
That was
Yeah.
the reason given.
Yeah, no, that is not
We-
that circumvents the actual design of the card,
Yeah.
and that's not okay. I hate seeing that. That's why, like, I still think I just had this conversation yesterday about mana burn. I broke out an old fucking circa 1993 tiny little rule book that you used to get back in the day. Tommy had a wealth of them somehow because he's Tommy.
Because why not? Yeah.
But it had man. We were talking about. It was like, I was talking about mana burn. Like, I want mana burn to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be there. It will make more honest players. That's what it'll do. It'll make you be on top of your shit. Not just be lazy. Not fucking just spend mana willy nilly. Like it keeps it true to the concept of the game. If you're a fucking wizard and you're pulling raw power from the earth around you and you don't fucking use it, what should happen? You're gonna get fucking burned.
I put it back in my pocket like a
absolute
holster
Right.
because I'm a fucking straight G.
As we're talking about Arena making Magic T-ball, the same thing of I've played against people in this shop who went to cast a big spell, and they were newer players. Like, it's perfectly fine to not be sure, but the comment, normally it auto taps it for me, and like they're not sure how, like, it takes 2 minutes to arrange the lands to tap them.
Right.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You never paid for your own spell?
Yeah.
What
Never
makes
had
magic is how, like, you have to be tight. A good Magic player is a good Magic player
Whoa,
because
John.
they're fucking
Okay.
tight. You're the one bringing up the fucking.
What are we talking about here, John?
Jesus Christ, Chris. You always gotta do it.
Off the rails. Completely
I
off
always
the
gotta do
rails.
it.
You got to be
Right.
tight.
Yeah.
Gotta be
You gotta
so
be tight.
tight. if
You
wanna
have to
play
be
Magic.
Like in the
a
butt.
good
tight.
fucking player is what you have to be.
Like,
And that's what it's not a thing where it's like it's just the little consistencies that you create when you play that makes a good Magic player a good Magic player. And every little forgiveness like that allows people to be shitty players and rewards them for being shittier players. And that's not okay. That's not what we should have. But I mean, I don't know. I guess they're like, well, whatever, we made Commander. So
see, that's
they
what
can go play Commander.
that's what casuals should be. That's what you get together with your friends, you play, you let each other make mistakes, but you guys recognize them and you try to be better. But when
Should
you come to a
recognize
tournament,
them. Yeah.
that's when you're supposed to be dialed in.
Right.
And Wizards is changing the rules to allow forgiveness
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
rules.
Yeah,
for
no,
mistakes.
exactly. No,
And
that's the last place forgiveness should happen. I agree. It's ridiculous. Talking about Mana Burn, Dashner. I think they should. I wish they would bring back Mana Burn.
I feel like it would have like almost no impact.
It wouldn't have
on
it. It
anything.
really
Oh,
wouldn't.
it'd have almost no impact.
It would.
Yeah.
It would not. It would not. But I think principally it's correct.
Wasn't Mana Barbs like? Wasn't that
Well, see, actually, that's so based on what the conversation earlier we were talking about. It's what's really bad about it is it just eradicated card design. Like Prophecy was a bad set of Magic, right? Prophecy was not a good set. Prophecy was based around, for Chris, he shook his head. He doesn't know what Prophecy is. Prophecy was the third set in the Merc Masters block. It was all based around mana being tapped, like punishing your opponent for untapped mana. Like that's the whole. Like so many cards were designed specifically around that. They're like, yeah, fuck, mana burn's gone. A whole set, a whole set of cards, just like,
Yeah,
whatever. Why the fuck would you do that to your own product? And like, that's crazy.
I also don't buy a lot. The explanation Wizards sometimes give is, well, we're making it less complicated. It's like, it's not that. How stupid do you think people are, Wizards?
No.
Making it less complicated? Come on.
And it's not. So the thing is, what makes Magic complicated is not the core rules.
No.
The core rules of Magic are not much different than any other game, really. It's the same number of things to remember and keep track of. What makes Magic complicated are the mechanics they print every single set. Changing the core rules does not make the game less complicated.
No.
It just makes it worse.
And then they print cards with ridiculous text on, like in the current set. I have the magpie thing.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
it's not. What it does is not complicated at all.
No,
the way
no.
they describe it
Yeah.
makes it sound really fucking complicated. The first time, if you've never seen it before, you read the card. If I just let you read the entire thing, you could not and I took it away from you. You couldn't tell me what the card actually does. Like once you do it once, you can explain it really simply.
Right.
Way easier than what the card does.
No, that card's text went back to like fucking circa 95 type text.
I think
it's like the what's the like raging river?
Oh, dude, yeah, that's
yeah.
fuck that card.
Can we get the text on that
So
up here?
Carmel asks, where is it asked to ask Mr. Priest where the lands go, front or back?
Oh, come on. Lands go in the back just because that the zone that you are actually interacting with against your opponent should be closest to your opponent.
Sure. Yeah.
Your opponent does not typically interact with your
Well,
lands.
we
they should
had,
be kept closer to you.
We had somebody actually, it didn't even make sense actually to see the player that we had playing with their lands forward, because I only saw that of guys from like old players like Tommy, you know, and this dude's like way younger, and he was playing with his lands forward. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is weird.
There's no justification for it.
Doesn't make any
It
sense.
just complicates the battlefield.
Well, conceptually, it doesn't make any sense either, because again, you're drawing mana from your land to play the thing.
Yep,
so
they go out there.
Forward motion.
So here's the text on Raging River from back in beta.
As printed. Read the as printed.
As printed.
Did they change it up here? Okay, so if you read this in Magic Online or Magic, the search engine, it would correct this text and say something different.
Oh, really?
It would, yeah.
Is this as printed here?
That looks like it's as printed.
Okay, so here's the text. When you attack, non-flying defending creatures must be divided as opponent wishes between the left and right sides of the river.
Oh,
Assuming there's a river.
You then choose on which side of the river to place each attacking creature, and attacking creatures can only be blocked by flying creatures on those or those on the same side of the river.
Fuck.
Everybody got that?
So I feel like they should have led with, like, first
Hey,
assign
he
the
moved
river.
the river. He moved the river.
Yeah, make the river first, cocksuckers. Yeah, no, go to Magic.
You can buy this on TCG Player, $415. Heavily played.
Yeah, let's
Jesus
go.
Christ.
Let's go to the Gatherers.
It'll really impress your play group.
'Cause I wanna
When you
see
break
the
out Commander,
errata
nobody knows
text.
what the fuck's going on.
Okay, so this is the errata text of Raging River. When one or more creatures you control attack, each defending player divides all creatures without flying they control into a left pile and they... Okay, this doesn't get any simpler. Never mind.
keep going.
I like that they're in parentheses.
Into a
too.
left pile and a right pile.
Into a left and the right pile. Then, for each attacking creature you control, choose left or right. That creature can't be blocked this combat except by creatures with flying and creatures in a pile with the chosen label.
Is that better?
God damn it. No, it's not.
Is that a better description?
That is so much worse. Almost every time they clean that up, they couldn't clean that up. That exactly shows how much of a pile of shit that card is. They couldn't clean it up. Oh, shit.
This is I had an example too, but it's nothing compared to that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, look it up, Matt. Look at
What do you got, Chris?
Look up Raging River on Gather or whatever, and just stare at the damn thing for like an hour. You'll go crazy. You'll go crazy trying to figure out exactly what it's doing.
This is very mild in comparison to that, but at the time it was giving people headaches. Bounty of the Luxa, anyone remember that?
Oh
yes, that was confusing.
That was giving people
At the
headaches
beginning
for
of your pre-combat main phase, remove all flood counters from Bounty of the Luxa. If no counters are removed this way, put a flood counter on Bounty of the Luxa and draw a card. Otherwise, add mana to your mana pool. And it's worded in a weird way that
that is confusing.
Condition
it is.
versus
you just said it, and I'm still not sure what it does.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's one of the that card there.
You either draw cards or get mana. Is really
That's what it is. That's what it is. But when you add when it actually spells out the steps and phases for new players, especially, it's very confusing because most new players, because they get into the game via Commander, don't actually know anything about the steps and phases.
This is true.
So they just I draw a card and play stuff, right? Like, yeah, that's what you do, buddy. It's just that simple.
Yeah, you see it with you can tell a new player right away just because they're not as mechanical. Drawing their card and they haven't untapped their land yet, kind of a thing. And
that's the first sign, and it's it's fine, and that's why I actually had the thought today.
Or forget to draw their card.
Magic is actually not suited to be a multiplayer game because I was listening to Commander players play, and so I always have to because there's always Commander players playing, and always it's like a nail in my ear. But the actual concept of priority in the game, in multiplayer, especially with dudes that don't know what the fuck they're doing, is a nightmare. That's so hard for them.
By the way, Matt, what you just posted in the chat is actually the dumbed down, revised language. That is not the actual text that was on the original card.
Yeah.
The first thing that I read was the original text.
Yeah, it didn't really simplify.
What you just posted is how they dumbed it down to make it more understandable for you.
Yeah, which is not at all. Yeah, no, it's Magic should very much the idea of priority is very much a one-on-one thing. You get into a 4-player game where 2 of these dudes are paying attention. Maybe even just one of these dudes are paying attention. And one's kind of paying attention, and 2 are just fucking off on their cell phones. And it's do some complex stack shit. And it's it's just a clusterfuck. They're just oh, what happened? I think I do that. Yeah. Do you have the mana? No, but I think I might be able to if I untap this. Did I untap this? Magic is kind of designed.
I should be at 46 because I was supposed to gain 2 life.
Yeah, remembering things. Yeah. Remembering turns from 3 turns ago. Yeah.
This was supposed to happen.
So I'm actually at 46.
Yeah, Magic is definitely. It's funny because Commander is now the way the game is enjoyed by the most people, and it's not really a game suited to be multiplayer. Make Raging River a tattoo? I'll do it. I'll show the conceptual fuckery of this card in a tattoo.
I want it to be the most mind-bending,
right. Just swirl of nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll draw that shit up. That'll be fun.
Upside down flying horses and all kinds of weird shit.
And what happens when a creature has banding in the Raging River?
That's a whole thing.
Oh my god.
That's just
I was that makes the Matrix implode.
In a casual conversation, I was talking to John about the first time I ever tried my hand at competitive Magic. I was in 7th grade. Me and my buddy went to the local card shop with our homebrewed decks that we played on pavement. No sleeves. They didn't exist yet. Mm-hmm. And we did a 2-headed giant. Wasn't called that. That didn't exist yet, but we played against guys that were way better than us, and I had Force of Natures and Crawworms in my deck. I came to beat, and this dude's just playing 1 and 2 drop white weenies, and they all have first strike and banding.
Yeah,
which means none of my shit does anything.
Yeah. Yeah, banding's a fucking crazy thing.
Does anyone know what Tackle Maggot does?
Maggot.
I do kind of. It's
Could
like
you
it's a
explain to
weird.
me-
You
What
know,
Tackle
this
Maggot?
would be a really fun game if we just real magic card, not real magic card.
Right? Yeah. Tackle
Because
Maggot.
I would guess not real magic.
I
card.
think that's a thing that locks down your opponent's lands somehow.
Maybe.
Right? Has
I
something to do
read
with
it once.
lands.
I'm still not sure.
All right, let me look it up.
I can read it for you.
Yeah, read it.
Tackle Maggot is a enchant creature. Put a 0/-1 counter on target creature during its controller's upkeep.
Okay.
If the creature is placed in the graveyard, its controller chooses a new target for Tackle Maggot. Jesus. If there are no legal target, Tackle Maggot becomes an enchantment and does 1 damage to the controller of the last creature Tackle Maggot was on during his or her upkeep. Tackle Maggot does not revert to a creature enchantment, even if other creatures are afterwards brought into play.
So how much does that cost?
That's
to
4 mana.
cast? Oh god, if that were 2 mana, that'd actually be a good card. Actually, it really would. So it puts a negative.
It's not worth it, John, to explain it.
No, I love it. It's actually for back in the day that probably wouldn't be that bad of a card. Well, actually, I don't know. I guess it kind of would be. It cost less. So shrink your opponent's dudes until they die, and then it becomes an enchantment on the player. Actually, probably might be labeled as a curse now.
Yeah.
That does a damage to them every upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that was better costed, that would actually not be a bad card.
Yeah, we got this page pulled up for Raging River, and I see Rushing River, which I remember from my IPA drafts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and that
Invasion
card is actually
block.
fucking awesome.
Invasion was just fucking fire, dude.
Oh yeah,
Invasion
yeah.
was so
So
fire.
Rushing River is 3 mana, instant speed, bounce a non-creature permanent. But there's a kicker: if you sacrifice a land, you can bounce 2 non-creature permanents.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Non-creature
Or
permanent?
non-land. Sorry.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say-
non-land permanents.
Sacrifice my land to
No, a
bounce
lot of-
yours?
A lot of shit in Invasion was super
Yeah.
good. Invasion was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was goofy. It was a 3-color set mandatory. You have to be 3 colors or your deck is trash. You will not win a
I think
game.
here's
there
a
was
card.
no fixing.
Ah,
Here's a card that is fucked completely by mana burn being gone. All opponents' lands are tapped. An opponent's mana pool is emptied. Opponent takes no damage from unspent mana. So
play
all
4
your
of
opponent
those.
does is, well, I make my mana and spend it however I want in response to your stupid spell.
You can
That's all that means. That's
yeah.
all that means.
Yeah.
And there's another one, Piracy, from a...
it's not even an interrupt.
No. There's another one from Starter I think it's called Piracy, and like you take their mana, like you make them tap their mana, you put it in your pool. Like mana burn, that was kind of a card, but now that there's no mana burn, it's like, well, okay, I just tap it. You don't get any mana, dipshit.
You can buy this mana short card for $38.98. Moderately played on TCG Player.
It's unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, fun stuff.
Right, we've been
Alright.
talking for a long time.
Yeah, we have. We should probably sign off, I guess.
Yeah.
So the thing I'll say is next week, I feel like this week we really got the kinks worked out.
Sure, John.
I feel like we were all over the place. It was a cluster.
Well, I'm saying the start.
Oh,
I
okay.
hate starting with a bad start like we did.
John, we took the computer apart.
I know, and that's why we had the bad start to the stream. And
And-
I'm trying to promise that it won't happen again.
John, what was wrong with the computer?
It just
Could you
needed
just
to be-
tell me real quick what was wrong with the
I
computer?
cannot. I cannot.
You done now?
You just fucking hit it a few times, shake it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, it was like one of those old black and white TVs, you know? Like,
Right.
You used to have to fuck with the antenna and then punch it.
I can tell you that we're down a fan. One of those
Right.
fans was spinning at the beginning.
Oh, no,
Okay.
no, they're both spinning now.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, no, now they're
Yeah,
spinning again.
they've
But,
always been like a
so I
little-
feel, anyway, like we worked out the kinks this time. Next time we'll have a strong start at the beginning of the episode.
Okay.
And then what the fuck are we going to talk about next time? We should have this.
No,
kind of
no,
in-
I like that we don't know.
We just don't know?
Yeah, we
Fuller
don't know.
House.
Okay. All right.
Some big like breaking. So
Fuller House. All right.
I'm against planning of any kind
All right,
because
fuck it.
there are people who plan, and the people who plan only function when their plan
All right, you know
goes
what?
off without
Fuck
a hitch.
this shit. What I'm going to say, people that are listening, 2 weeks from now, you give us
Yeah.
the subjects. We'll go from there.
But here's the thing: we can say, hey, you know what? Next week we're going to talk about, we're going to do a whole show about mana burn. We could do
Right.
that. And then,
We just don't.
2 days before they ban the 10 cards that we've been talking about, and all of a
Right.
sudden we have to talk
Yeah,
about
they've
that.
been threatening to ban those mana burn cards
They have.
For-
Yeah, mana barbs. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
Format changers.
Well, what I would like to hear, you like the card or not a card thing? Yeah, I should actually come up with some of those.
That'd be good. Yeah, no, it's this will be happening regularly. We got, that's another thing with the kinks being worked out. We should be good,
Yeah.
right, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris almost
Yeah.
died. He's not dead, so that's good.
I was in a foreign country with no health care. That was hard.
Jesus.
But he's still
Did you
with
get
us.
like
so-
dysentery or?
2 ear infections, chest infection, a fever, and COVID.
Oh, damn.
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
I had a very busy 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So maybe next week, what our theme? Like Chris could tell us about the magic scene in Ireland.
It's very hard to find a shop.
Yeah.
Dude, save that. That's next week.
But we did find a shop.
Oh,
Or did we?
Tune in next time. Where Chris Priest goes to Ireland.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody that listened.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a couple weeks, 8:15, hopefully, kind of sharp. We'll see.
That's Eastern time.
Right, Eastern time for anybody that's
8:15,
listening.
computer willing. Also, the RGB is working now. It wasn't earlier. The fan just stopped. John, I'm not as optimistic as you are about a kinkless start next week. And
Well,
would
you
we
know
want it not to be kinky at the beginning?
We're going to set up the
Demand
go,
some
and the
kink?
microphones are not going to work for sure.
Right. All right. We'll see how it goes. That's the closing statement. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
See ya.